being used by kids on kids is downright frightening.
So is there anything that can be done? How can we stop this? We wanted to bring in Marcus Allen, CEO of Independence Big Brothers Big Sisters, joining us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
As someone who works with kids and who works with an organization that focuses on mentoring our kids, what do you see when you see that video?
Well, I see, a failure in the system, right? I think many times we see something like that and our first reaction is like to think how horrible that is, and it is horrible. But what I see is I've been working with kids in this city for over 20 years, and what I see is a failure of systems. I don't, for the SEPTA chief, he said that, this is something that happens every day, and it's been happening for years. And it just feels like we're always being reactive, and we're not being proactive by engaging so many others to collaborate around this issue and this challenge. And I think what we're also seeing is it makes a lot of sense to me because we've seen disinvestments in schools. We've seen Philadelphia crime rate continue to increase. We know that Philadelphia is the poorest big city in America. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised when I see this. What I am surprised by, though, is I don't hear any new innovative strategies to address these issues. And many times we sit here and we look at these kids and we blame these kids. And it's not these kids' fault.
All right, let's put you in charge right now.
Uh-oh.
How do you change it?
Well, first of all, collaboration, right? And so
with whom?
With the nonprofit community,
okay,
with the school district, with SEPTA Police, with the police district, with parents.
That's not happening?
I don't see it happening widespread.
You should be at the table.
And I'm not at that table. I can guarantee you that. And as I was telling you earlier, I live near Spring Garden and Broad. So, one of the major stops where this happens with these kids, I don't see a big presence, right? I see some SEPTA Police.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's one of our viewers suggested that. Let's go put up the first one there, Ari. Maybe posting some officers during peak hours at the stops may deter them. The parents seeing their children on TV, parents too busy trying to be their child's friend instead of the parents. Do you sense that?
I don't know how to sense that. What I do know is there's a lot of concerned parents for the safety of their children. What I do know is there's a lot of commuters who are concerned about their safety as well.
Well, maybe, I don't know if we have more police officers to post there.
But the interesting thing is Chief Nestel says they have some and they don't care that they're there. So you're saying maybe if we just had even more?
Well, I don't know if police are the issue. We can't just put this on the police, right? Police
Mm-hmm.
are trained to stop things, right? What we need, because we're talking about children, we're talking about kids, we need people who are trained to manage things, right? And so by the time it gets to the point where you're fighting, right, kids, adults, nobody thinks at that moment.
Well, another viewer, and every time we do one of these stories, this is the reaction from a lot of people. Kids fighting, lock them up, or lock up their parents. Somebody needs to be held accountable. That's always, lock up the parents.
Right, so, I think I was a pretty good kid growing up. And I'm not afraid to say I got in fights, right? Kids have a lot of energy. And so when you don't have, when you're cutting out sports in schools, you're cutting out music, you're cutting out art, kids have energy. And they're going to use that energy in some way. And then there's the groupthink situation. So I'm not going to put a parent in jail because your kid is getting on a crowded bus stop and ends up getting into an altercation. I think that is ridiculous. I think, yes, parents should be involved. There's some responsibility of the parents and also of the community. But we can't just go around locking up kids. And that's part of the issue right now, that we think locking up kids, locking up people.
You've been working with kids for 20 years, like you said. That's not the majority of our children,
correct.
right?
I would say that's less than 2% of our kids, right?
But it makes headlines.
Right, and also what I think, you asked me if I was in charge, one of the things I would love to know if SEPTA is actually working with those problematic sites, particularly those schools in those sites, and sitting at the beginning of the year, say, hey, here, we had 15 incidents last year, working with the principal, working with the teachers, who are the kids that are more likely to cause these issues? And let's make sure that we have those relationships.
We do this. You mentioned those 5 or 6 different organizations. Why don't we do something here in the studio, get those 5 or 6 people together, and start the meeting here?
Well, I would love that. I have a lot of peers who are just as concerned about this as I am, right? And we just need some sort of spark to bring us together to have these conversations.
City, SEPTA, you, a couple of
school district, police department, and parents.
Because do you believe that they have activities or something? Maybe this won't be happening if they have something else to do?
Yeah, I think not just activities, just I think, kids, just like anybody else, we're very proximal, right? When you have a relationship with someone, people act differently. That's why I think Big Brothers Big Sisters, like, we've had the success we've had because it's all about building a relationship. And when these kids have relationships and they have respect, then this doesn't happen as much. It's never going to stop completely, but we can decrease
Reduce
what
it.
we're seeing now.
We need some more big brothers and big sisters.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, we'll talk about that
Yes.
at a later date.
Yes, we will.
Good to see you.
Thank you.